Hello and welcome to HMI Book Club. My name is Mark Gravel and I'm a certified hypnotherapist and instructor here at HMI for more than 20 years. On this show we explore how self-improvement books can be a valuable resource for helping yourself and your hypnotherapy clients. I can't stress enough how important it is that you dedicate at least 1/3 of your time with your clients, teaching them something new. Today I'm going to discuss the book Man's Search for Meaning by a psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl. I will confess that I've known about this book for a long, long time, and only recently did I actually purchase it and read it. And what motivated me, it's kind of interesting. I actually have a client who is a licensed psychologist now, and I helped her pass her last test, and she sent me a thank you email, and she had a Viktor Frankl quote at the bottom of the email. And I thought, okay, that's enough. I don't have to avoid this book anymore. So I finally got it and started reading it. And now the reason I avoided it is because basically it's a story about his experiences in a Nazi concentration camp. And it's a little painful about what these people were put through. I mean, it's just incredible. It also, I think, points out the importance of never forgetting what actually occurred in those concentration camps, because it was a total luck of the draw whether you were going to live or die. And he learned how to cope with this. And that's what we help our clients do. We help them coping with different situations that arise in their life. So I think I avoided it because of the emotional pain of reading about what they really went through. I mean, everything in their existence was completely controlled, and they were treated cruelly, and they were like practically starved, and but every act was pretty much controlled. When they could go to the bathroom, and one of the things about that he related is, in order to stay alive in this situation, you had to at least appear healthy and could work, because if you could work, then you wouldn't go to the gas chamber. It's just a horrible, horrible situation to be in. So I'm going to bring up a few points, and some of these points we can use really to help our clients and ourselves. I mean, this book is really quite inspiring. And before I did this show tonight, I was talking to another student here. He's a retired person, and he said, yeah, I've read this book twice, and each time I read it, it really motivated me to get more active. So there's a foreword here by a rabbi named Harold Kushner, and he wrote a book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Incidentally, maybe we'll get to that one eventually, because bad things do happen to good people. But again, our job as hypnotherapists is to really help people cope with different situations. One of the things that Frankl does in this book is he quotes Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher, a lot. And one of the quotes he starts with is, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And certainly he bared the how, surviving in this concentration camp. I've got a few points to make. Now, he has several insights in this book, which I'm going to share with you. And they're pretty important insights. And Kushner says, finally, Frankl's most enduring insight, one that I have called on in my own life and in countless counseling situations, that's what we do, forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except one thing: your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation. You cannot control what happens to you in life, but you can always control what you will feel and do about what happens to you. That's pretty important. See, so the people who ran the concentration camp could control every aspect of their life, but the one thing they couldn't control is how he decided to react to it. Now, that's a pretty important life lesson, I think. Okay? Actually, you know, that would be a pretty good suggestion to give somebody in hypnosis. He goes on. There's a scene in Arthur Miller's play, Incident at Vichy, in which an upper middle class professional man appears before the Nazi authority that has occupied his town and shows his credentials. So the man shows his university degrees, his letters of reference from prominent citizens, and so on. The Nazis ask him, "Is that everything you have?" And the man nods yes. The Nazi throws it all in a wastebasket and tells him, "Good, now you have nothing." The man whose self-esteem had always depended upon the respect of others is emotionally destroyed. Frankl would have argued that we are never left with nothing as long as we retain the freedom to choose how we will respond. So you see how it applies in our everyday lives? In our everyday lives, no matter what the experience is, no matter how negative it is, we still have the freedom to choose how we are going to react to it. Okay? He talks about, they lived in these mud huts, slept on straw, and they had terrible clothes, and had terrible shoes especially when they did physical labor. And he talks about dreams and how people dreamt in the mud huts in the concentration camp. What did the prisoner dream most frequently? Of bread, cake, cigarettes, and nice warm baths. The lack of having these simple desires satisfied led him to wishful thinking in dreams. And certainly, part of our work is doing dream therapy. Whether these dreams did any good is another matter. The dreamer had to wake from them to the reality of camp life and to the terrible contrast between that and his dream illusions. He says, "I shall never forget how I was roused one night by the groans of a fellow prisoner who threw himself about in his sleep, obviously having a horrible nightmare. Since I had always been especially sorry for people who suffered from fearful dreams or deliria, I wanted to wake the poor man. Suddenly I drew back the hand which was ready to shake him, frightened at the thing I was about to do. At that moment, I became intensely conscious of the fact that no dream, no matter how terrible, could be as bad as the reality of the camp which surrounded us and to which I was about to recall him." Those pretty rough conditions, and that's a pretty good example of it. The good news is he really kind of straightens things out later in the book, and he does offer solutions. One of the things that one of his observations was that no matter where the person came from, and a lot of different people came from a lot of different countries in these camps, and he came up, or one of the things he expresses in the book is that there are only really in existence two races. It doesn't matter about skin color or anything else. It doesn't matter about your heritage or anything else. He says there's only two races, the decent and the indecent. That's pretty good advice. Okay. All right. So he goes on to talk about the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? And certainly that's something that we need to help our clients with. Sometimes they feel a lack of meaning in their lives. Now, in the past, I've discussed, like from the 7 spiritual laws of success, that's called the law of Dharma, finding your meaning in life. And here's hopefully a little quick example. Just last week, I helped a client with this, being aware And she was like kind of really tired of her job, and she was kind of complaining about it and the things that she had to go through. And what she does is she provides load jacks for auto dealers. Okay? And so I had to remind her about the meaning of her job. And I said, basically, okay, you're selling load jacks, but what you're really doing is you're providing people with general peace of mind. That if somebody steals their car, that they're very likely to get it back. And as a matter of fact, she pointed out to me that load jack is even better than the, you know, the space locators, the satellite. What is it? OnStar, yeah, yeah, because that won't register in some like parking garages and things like that, but the load jack will. So that's a little example, and she left the, you know, the session really feeling a lot better about what she did, and that's an important part. We all have purposes in life. That was another book, of course, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. So we can turn these concepts that Frankl talks about really into suggestions for our clients. Okay, so to her, I had her give herself the suggestion. You know, part of my meaning in life is I bring peace of mind to a lot of people. Okay, well, it's time for a break now. Stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion of Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Hello, and welcome to Psychologist now. And I helped her pass her last test, and she sent me a thank you email, and she had a Viktor Frankl quote at the bottom of the email. And I thought, okay, that's enough. I don't have to avoid this book anymore. So, how important it is that you dedicate at least 1/3 of your time with your clients, teaching them something new. Today I'm going to discuss the book Man's Search for Meaning by a psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl. Now, I will confess, HMI Book Club. My name is Mark Gravel, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist and instructor here at HMI for more than 20 years. On this show, we explore how self-improvement books can be a valuable resource for helping yourself and your hypnotherapy clients. I can't stress enough that I've known about this book for a long, long time, and only recently did I actually purchase it and read it. And what motivated me, it's kind of interesting. I actually have a client who is a licensed psychologist.